Hey and welcome to the Lean Girl YouTube channel. Today's recipe, you are going to love it, that's for sure. I have got so many requests to recreate a low calorie, high protein, wait for it, rusk. I have got this is probably the most requested video of all time. And so let me be honest with you and tell you that I don't know how this is gonna turn out. So I have gone and done a heck of a lot of research to try and figure out how on earth I'm going to make this rusk low calorie and high protein. Because most rusks are, first of all, have a ton of butter, have a ton of oil, and have a lot of buttermilk, which is why they're so damn good. But today I have taken those out and I've actually taken some inspiration from our little Italian friend, the biscotti. So I hope that this is gonna work. I hope that it's gonna be like a rusk. It may be like a rusk biscotti combo. I mean, what would we call that? A ruscotti? Terrible. Okay, so this is the first time I'm trying this recipe. If it works, you guys are gonna think I'm basically like a lean girl magician. And if it doesn't work, maybe you won't be watching this video. Maybe I'll be recording it all for nothing. And maybe I'll have to make some tweaks to the recipe. But I am holding thumbs and I am praying that the recipe gods are on our side. So let's get into the recipe. Here we go with the Lean Girl low calorie, high protein rusk that is going to be amazing. We will see at the end of the video. Okay, so we are starting off with our dry ingredients. So I have already weighed out. I've got 60 grams of oat flour and then 60 grams of rolled oats. I did the combination of the two so we can get a nice texture in our rusk. Hopefully this is gonna work out as planned. Okay, so 60 grams of oat flour and then 50 grams of normal rolled oats. This is what they look like, just FYI. This is actually an awesome brand, Wholesome Earth, that sent me these goodies. So I'm not actually gluten-free. So they're not gluten-free for any particular reason. I just had these handy. So that is the first thing that I'm going to be using. Then, one thing I love about a good rusk is when they put all bran in. So I've now got 30 grams of all bran, which I am kind of gonna crush up a little bit with my hand so we get smaller flakes. And then I am adding that in next. And then of course, as I said, these are high protein rusks. So I am going to be using some protein powder so that when we're eating a few of these rusks, they are going to be helping us get our protein, hit our protein goal. So I'm using the Metalab protein powder. This is one of my favorite local brands. This is the vanilla bean. It is so delicious. I will put the link to where you can get it. You can buy it online. And I have a discount code for us, Lean Girl 15, which will give you 15% off on this protein powder. So we are adding 2 scoops. The vanilla bean is really good. And you'll see I used it in a lot of my recipes because of the vanilla flavor. It kind of goes in any of my recipes. And the flavor is really good. Like if you use a lot of if you've tried a lot of other protein powders, you'll know that not all protein powders are created equal. Some of them taste like, oh, no good. Okay, then I'm going to be adding some canderel. I actually got this one for baking. If you are going to be using the sachets, it's 5 sachets. I'm doing 5 tablespoons of sweetener. Obviously this is replacing the sugar in a normal rusk recipe. So 0 calories, whereas sugar has a lot more. And then we are gonna go in with our baking powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 level teaspoons of that. Okie dokes. Then we are gonna do a pinch of salt, which always is a good idea in baking. Always brings out the flavors. And then, last but not least, I think, on my dry ingredients, some cinnamon. Because cinnamon just goes in everything. Like, I don't think I've actually made a recipe that's sweet where I haven't used cinnamon. So we'll just add a little bit of warmth, a little bit of into that. Okay, so that's it for our dry ingredients. which you can just give a little mix around so everything is kind of combined. And now we are going to go in with our wet ingredients. They are eggs. Oh, really got a little itch on my nose today. Okay, eggs. 2 full eggs and 2 whites, which I have already separated. So that is going to be going in. Now I'm going to be adding a special little secret ingredient, which is basically applesauce, which they use a lot in America. But in South Africa, we don't actually have it. In my last recipe, I couldn't open this either, so, Okay, so this is basically pureed apple. If you don't want to get this, this is just a baby food pouch, which is apple and cinnamon, which I got from Woolies. It's just much easier than having to cook apples, puree them, and all that jazz. So I'm going to be using this whole pouch, which is 120 grams. So just empty this out. It's like a little baby dessert. Voila. Okay, empty that one out. And then I'm going to be using 2 teaspoons of vanilla essence, which is going to give it that yummy vanilla flavor. Our protein powder is also vanilla, so 1, 2. I think I just like poured in half the bottle while I was pretending to use the spoon. Okay, so now we are just going to mix everything up really well so that everything is beautifully combined. Okay, so last but not least, I'm going to throw in a few raisins. This is 30 grams of raisins. I love a good raisin in a rusk to just have a little bit of secret sweetness come through every now and again. So you're gonna just give that a good mix. And then I'm gonna grab my baking dish and show you guys what I'm going to be popping this into. Okay, so I have my baking dish, which I'm now gonna spray it with some spray and cook. We really don't want these to stick because we actually have to take them out, and then once they're cooked, take them out and put them back into the oven. So we really wanna make sure that they don't stick, so really give it a good spraying. Woo! And then we are just going to spoon in, or pour in, our little rusk mixture. Guys, I really hope this is gonna work. Otherwise, I'm gonna be very sad. I'm gonna have a very sad fiance who is patiently waiting for a rusk in the other room. So now you need to kind of spread it out onto the bottom so that we have an even mixture all the way to the edges. Okie doke, so I'm now gonna pop these into the oven for around 20 to 25 minutes. I'm gonna keep an eye on them. You want it to be golden brown and totally cooked through. So I'll be back 20 to 25 minutes and then I will show you on the next step. By the way, I forgot to mention it should be on 180 degrees for those 25 minutes. Okay, so we are back, and guys, I'm excited because this is looking good. Like, I feel like this recipe is going to be a serious winner. So I had this little rusk cake in the oven for around 20 minutes. As you can see, it's brown on top, it's cooked all the way through to the bottom, and it turned out really nicely. So obviously that spray and cook helped me to just turn it out onto this board. Now the next step is we are actually going to cut this into rusk shapes, and I then have a baking tin here which is covered in tin foil, and we are going to be putting them back into the oven on a really low temperature for them to dry out and become that crunchy rusk that we all know and love. So we are now going to cut these up. So I'm first going to start off by cutting it down the middle. And then I want to cut them into small-ish pieces. I'll put the calories up on the screen afterwards so you'll know exactly how many is in each rusk. But you kind of want them to be decent-sized pieces. And kind of, I'll pick one up now to show you. And kind of like a rusk shape. Well, you will, depending on what, I'm gonna taste it. depending on what container you're using, but a rectangle actually worked really, really well. Okay, voila. So I cut them into 14 pieces. And now what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to lay them out onto my baking tray. Voila. Okay, so now I need to pop them back into the oven. I've got my oven now on 100 degrees, and I'm actually going to be popping them in there now for 2 hours. I know it seems like a long time, but because the temperature is really low, it's basically just going to dry out the rusks and make them delicious and crunchy. So I will see you back in 2 hours. These look amazing. So guys, our rusks are out of the oven. They were actually in there for quite a while, about 2.5 hours. I really wanted them to be nice and crunchy and crisp. So 2.5 hours on 100 degrees, and they are perfection. You guys are going to be obsessed. I am so happy with this recipe. It turned out so beautifully. Gillian and I have already tasted one, and we give it the A-OK, right, babe?
It's amazing.
The cameraman is very happy. And so yeah, guys, I have now left them to cool. So I took them out of the oven. When you leave them to cool, they'll get extra hard and crunchy. And you can now store these in a beautiful bottle. They are around 70 calories. I'll put all the calorie and macro breakdown up as always. And they will be loaded into my Lean Girl Kitchen Coach Hub. If you have not checked it out yet, click the link in the description. That is my ultimate recipe hub filled with all of my low calorie, high protein, lean girl recipes that are fit for fat loss. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out. I'll be uploading the rusk recipe right there. It's also really awesome because you can actually check breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks, desserts, all according to how many calories you have and your calorie budget. So it's all calorie macro calculated for you, and it will take the guesswork out of your meals for fat loss. So my girls, this is it. I'm actually just gonna break one of these babies in half just to show you like the good crunch that comes with it. And again, these are high in protein. I think it's about 6 or 7 grams of protein per rusk. That means that it will help you to hit that all-important protein target. And there you have it, my girls. So finally, the recipe you've been asking for, my Lean Girl high protein rusk recipe. If you haven't done it yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my Lean Girl recipes. And otherwise, be sure to look out for more recipes from me, Angie, here on the Lean Girl YouTube channel. Favorite little sweet snack? Does it taste good?